7 सेकंड से ज़्यादा या फिर 10 सेकंड से ज़्यादा कोई भी इंटरव्यूअर, कोई भी रिक्रूटर आपका रिज्यूमे नहीं देखने वाला है। बिकॉज वो एक ही दिन में 100 से लेके 200 रिज्यूमे स्क्रीन कर रहे होते हैं, टेस्ट कर रहे होते हैं, लुकआउट कर रहे होते हैं। इवन समटाइम्स रिक्रूटर विल नॉट see the name of yours, right? They just see the skills of yours. Everyone is getting the problems or challenges to get the new templates for the resume, okay? But you should not focus for the templates, you should focus for the contents what you are writing in your resume, and that's what we are talking in this video. So how you stand out your resume, that we'll see in this video, in the resume building session. Start करने से पहले like the video, subscribe the channel and share the video in your circle, so the video will get the maximum likes. Please share in your circle, in your groups, in your college groups or in your professional groups, because it gives me motivation to keep creating the new videos. I'm just showing you the standard templates, right? By seeing this template, you will definitely get the interview calls from the big companies, right? You will definitely get the catch the attention from the interviewer recruiters. The resume will go to the 3 places actually: your recruiter, then your interviewer company, and then the final interviewer, right? So when you get the call, that call will be from the recruiter. So first of all, you will get the attention from the recruiter itself, and recruiter will see the resume more than just I think 10 second or 15 second, that's it. I told you कि 10 से 15 सेकंड के ऊपर तो रिक्रूटर पढ़ता ही नहीं है आपका रिज्यूमे. दैट मीन्स योर फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड पेज शुड बी वेरी मच प्रिसाइज एंड वेरी मच प्रॉपर, राइट? टेक्निकल स्किल्स, वॉट एवर इज योर प्रोफाइल, इज द इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग्स दैट यू शुड मेंशन इन अ फर्स्ट पेज ओनली. To select your resume from the recruiter, सबसे important things, it's a keyword, right? I think yes, it's a correct word, keyword. Okay, the keyword means whatever is the skills. For example, you have the skills of PCS7, you have the skills of Siemens PLC, you have the skills of TIA portal, you have the skills of WinSys SCADA. So this kind of skills which is searched by the recruiters, so that your resume will get up and you will get the call. So the keywords is the most important thing that you should focus, and that things you should keep in your resume in a very proper manner, so that recruiter can search the your resume and call you for the interview. resume ब्यूटिफिकेशन और resume मतलब ज़्यादा अच्छा दिखना मैटर नहीं करता है एक्चुअली. your content in your resume matters, right? So that you should keep in your mind. Resume beautification or resume. The standard resume that we are going to discuss today is nothing but the template for your next interview. So use this template so that each and everything that is required to put it in the resume, that I am explaining to you in this video. Okay, so keep connected, just watch full video so you can get the better idea how to prepare a resume for the next interview, and how to catch the attention from the interviewer, so that your chances to get selected will be more higher. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and we'll continue. This is the standard typical resume. Right now in this video, I am not going to discuss about the template or the extraordinary the template. You can just put the things in a proper manner. Your resume will be automatically become an extraordinary one. That means your resume will be different from the other persons, that will catch the attention from the interviewer. Right now, there is no extraordinary stuffs we are going to discuss, because this is the standard resume that every interviewer definitely will look. It should be in a proper manner, first of all, right? So let's get started. First of all, in this resume, if you see, first is name, contact, and email. This is the basic things you need to put, right? And what is your profession? Your profession is a automation control engineer, right? Whatever is your experience, that doesn't matter, but you are a automation control engineer, right? Now the designation can be anything. It can be of your it can be a project engineer, it can be a field service engineer. If you see, automation control engineer is the main designation that describe you, what you are, okay, in your profession. In your profession, you are an automation control engineer, right? But in the automation control engineer, at which position you are, that you are describing at the below part. For example, if you are a fresher, you can describe like junior project engineer. If you are a middle level, you can describe like project engineer, field service engineer, commissioning engineer, right? Project lead, team lead. So this kind of designations you can describe under the automation control engineer, because you are doing things regarding the automation control engineer, right? The designation can be anything. So interviewer will get the idea, yes, you are automation control engineer and designation is this right now. Okay, now what should be inside the profile summary? This is the main important part of your resume, because by reading this profile summary, interviewer or any selector will get the idea what you are and how much experience you have, what technical skills that you are probably having, right? So this kind of portion or section you need to put always at the top, right? See, there is no objective, there is no what's your vision and what's your mission. There is nothing. Okay, there should not be inside your resume vision, objective, and mission. This is not your catching point, right? Your catching point is what you are, your profile. Your profile means how much experience, first of all. For example, if you are having the 6 month of experience, so you just put the 6 month of experience, right? You are having the 10 years of experience, just put 10 years of experience. So this is the typical standard resume. This resume shows each and everything which is required to get selected, that is available over here, right? You can just manipulate this standard template in your own template, right? Because so many tools are available in the market, you can manipulate with this type of standard description or standard stuffs, right? So first of all, the profile summary. Now, which skills you are having in the industrial automation, which type of skills you are having? For example, PLC programming, right? But for PLC programming is, that means you are doing PLC programming of Siemens, Allen Bradley, Schneider, ABB, Mitsubishi, whatever, right? So that you need to describe which type of softwares you are using to do the PLC programming, step 7, PCS 7, control logics, micro logics, right? And which kind of languages you are using to do the PLC programming. See, the ladder language, STL language, TFC language, SFC language, so this type of languages. So by reading this line, you will get the idea. Yes, you know these things, and this is the main thing you need to just focus. Now the second thing is SCADA and HMI designing, right? Now SCADA and HMI designing means WinCC Explorer, WinCC Comfort Panel, and TView Site Edition and Machine Edition. First is PLC, second is SCADA. Because in the industrial automation, whenever you are a fresher in a middle level or in a senior level, right? This PLC, SCADA, and HMI, these basic things you should know, and you should know in a proper manner. So, which kind of softwares you are using to do this SCADA development, right? So, for the SCADA development, WinCC Explorer, WinCC Comfort Panel, FTU Site Edition, Machine Edition, this type of things. Now, after PLC, HMI, and SCADA, what are the other things that you know? What are the other things that you are having as a skill? Like SSRS reporting, because the industrial automation reporting is a major part, right? Like batch report generation, shift report generation. So you should know this reporting part. You can watch my other videos and you can get the trainings from my other websites, right? So yes, this is the things that you need to put, what skills in carrying out, right? PLC, SCADA, SSRS reporting, like batch reporting. But for to do the batch reporting, what kind of knowledge you have? You have the knowledge of SQL, so you need to describe SQL database, SQL scripting, VB scripting. So this kind of skills you should have in your resume. Now, it might be possible that you are working on the drives, you are working on the motion controllers, right? You are working on a crane application, means you are experienced in a crane applications, you are experienced in a drive applications, right? Motion applications. So you should describe in a proper manner, like motion and drive technologies, but which kind of VFDs or which kind of servos you are using. So for example, 120 of Siemens, 120 of Siemens, right? I am just describing the Siemens as a part of just for explanation. You can describe as per your technicality, right? It can be of ABB, it can be of Allen Bradley, it can be of Mitsubishi, Schneider, whatever it is. Yeah. Now, from this, what you can understand as a cross functionality. For example, in ID, definitely as a programmer or as a SCADA developer or as an industrial automation engineer, you are not going to develop a PNID because you are not a process guy. But you can understand what is the PNID and what kind of stuffs inside the PNID, and that will be useful to do the programming of PLC, to do the preparation of the control philosophy. Okay, so you can be very much confident. Yes, you can understand to describe the PNID, you can understand to describe the IOs and panel drawing, right? This is the skills you are having in your resume that should be at the top, right? So in a profile summary, how much experience, first of all. Now, next, what type of skills you are having. After that, they're important knowledge. For example, S88 standard, ISA 95 standards. If you are very much confident with the communication protocols like Profinet, Ethernet, TCP/IP, RS485, RS232, open protocols like Modbus and OPC UA. So that you need to describe at the at the third point, right? First is number of experience. Second is skills, what you are having. The third is knowledge of other standards like open protocols, OPC UA, OPC DA, Modbus, S88 standard, ISA 95 standards, right? Batch processings, serial communications, right? So this is your third point. Now, what is the fourth point? What you are having as a technical skills, in which industry you are using that. So in which industry you are using that? You are using in the pharma industry, food industry, water treatment industry, or water treatment plants, or oil and gas industry, right? So that interviewer can get the idea, yes, you are working in this type of industries and you are doing the projects of this type of industries, right? Your interviewer or your next company in which you are going to provide an interview, it can be from oil and gas, it can be from food, it can be from pharma, whatever it is, right? So they can get the idea. At the back side, they can get the idea like previously you have worked on this type of industries. So this is your fourth point. Now the fifth point is, what is your current role? Your current role is what you are doing right now in your company, right? Project development, PLC, SCADA, DCS, HMI. Okay, this kind of project development I am doing. I'm doing the project development of PLC based project. I'm doing the project development of DCS based project, right? Whatever it is. Now, if you are doing the documentation in the pharma industry like IQ, OQ, DQ, right? You are doing the customer support. If you are in a service role, so majorly the part of the customer support, right? So you can just write down, provide the services to the customer as per the requirement, like this way. So customer support, team handling, whatever is your current role, you need to describe very properly. So interviewer can get the idea, yes, this is your skills, this is the industry you are having, this is the different standards, and this is the working profile right now in the company you are working. Now, the second part. First is the name, email ID, and mobile number, right? This kind of the things are okay, right? And after that, what is the main tagline? Automation control engineer. Now, under that automation control engineer, what is your role? Then profile summary. So these three stuffs. After profile summary, the fourth is IT skills. Okay. So what is the IT skills you are having? For example, apart from industrial automation like PLC, HMI, SCADA, DCS, okay, you know the SQL, you know the VB scripting, you know the PHP, HTML, C Sharp, .NET, or data science, or Python, whatever it is, right? If you are knowing something different from PLC, you should mention over here. Why? Because, see, uh, as we already know, we are living in the industry 4.0. Okay, so all the stuffs whatever we are doing, that is related to industry 4.0, and industry 4.0 is nothing but the IT plus OT means your PLC, HMI, SCADA, and IT means and this type of skills, right? So IT OT integrations and upgradation projects should require this kind of skills. So if you are having additionally this type of skills, so it is very much beneficial for you to get selected. Okay, so these skills will differ you from the other candidates. That things you should keep in your mind. Yeah. After all these things, right? So in the first page, in a very first page, you should just talk about your profile. That's it. What skills you are having, what industry you are serving, and what is your current role, and what are the standards what are the other IT skills right? Now, to describe these IT skills and your knowledge, in the second page, you should move for your projects, right? Because whatever is the skills that you mentioned in the previous page, in the first page, that you can explain by describing each and every projects for each and every industry. For example, you mentioned at the top of the side pharma industry, right? So inside the pharma industry, what is the base project you do, right? You do the base project name, customer name, and clients you should not disclose in a resume. Okay, verbally you can disclose with the interviewer, but it's okay. No need to disclose customer name and the end client. Project name you should describe. Scope, what is the scope in that project actually, right? That is main important thing. The scope means upgradation, revalidation, batch control, recipe control, reporting, whatever it is. This is your scope in that project. The scope can be different because you can be a part of your one project, right? For example, there is one big project that will continue running since last 6 months. So you cannot be a only single point contact for that project, right? You are a member of that project. For example, there are 6 members in that particular project. So you are one of the member. And what is your scope? Your scope means revalidation. Your scope means batch control logic. Your scope means recipe control logic. Your scope means reporting part, right? So this kind of scope you are serving for that project. That is mandatory to mention over here, right? Now, after scope, what should be the means what is the system of that project, right? System means what kind of PLC you are using in that project, what kind of HMI SCADA you are using in the project, what kind of drives you are using in that project, what kind of communication protocols you are using in the project, right? So this kind of things you should mention over here in the project highlight. If you see the customer name and client scope, then project highlights. In the project highlights, PLC, SCADA, communication project, whatever is the main components in that project that you should mention, right? Now, what can be your responsibilities? Here, you have to write down the detailed responsibility that you are serving in that project, right? Like, for example, you are a project lead in that project. So you should mention like team handling and project leading, right? Here I mentioned. For example, you are doing some reporting stuff, SQL database work, or SSRS reporting, or batch control, or PLC programming, or sequential flowchart programming in that project. So you should mention in a detailed manner. Scope means what is your scope in that project. Okay, that should be in a bullet point. What is the responsibility? That means responsibility will be regarding the scope actually, right? So regarding the scope, you should mention what is your responsibility in a detailed manner in the responsibility section. So this is the way at least 2 or 3 or at least 3 or 4 projects you need to mention in the different industries, because as a PLC programmer or as a industrial automation engineer, it can be possible you are serving the different industries, right? Pharma, food, oil and gas, whatever it is. So you should mention the big projects of each and every industry, like pharma, food, and water treatment, right? I have just mentioned over here as a typical template, right? Now, after describing it, that means by seeing this, actually, what interviewer can understand? Interviewer can understand means whatever is inside the first page that you are having as a technical skill that you are describing in a project, that you are using in a projects, right? So that's why it's very much convincing. Yes, there is a skills and there is a projects that you are doing. After that, your current profile, or what is your current work experience. Your current company name should be mentioned, since last how many years you are working in the current company, and your designation, right? Now, in the current company, what you are doing, right? See, above projects can be of your previous company, can be of your current company, can be of your anything, okay? Can be of your personal projects, whatever it is. So let's start from once again. Okay, so it can be a better idea to understand how the things are going forward in a resume. First of all, name, tagline, and your proper designation, then profile summary, then technical skills, then other IT skills, then projects regarding that skills. Okay, so now you can understand the flow of the resume. Okay, now the skills and that projects can be of your previous company, can be of your personal work, can be of your current company. Okay, it can be anything, the skills and project, right? Because it might be possible the 2 or 3 projects that is very much good actually that you are done in a previous company, and some small projects that you are doing in a current company. Okay, so you should mention the main big projects that you are doing or that you are already done, right? So that is mentioned. It can be of previous or it can be of current, right? Now, what you are doing in your current company, this is our next step. In a current work experience, what you are doing, the company name, designation, what is your current designation that you should mention over here? And since last how many years you are working with the current company, that you should mention over here, right? Now, like anything, whatever you are doing the customer support, you are doing the PLC, HMS, SCADA development, whatever it is, with regarding means with respect to the which kind of PLC you are using. For example, see,
development and commissioning on Siemens automation systems like HS7, H7 300, 400, 1200, 1500, whatever it is, right? If you are using the Allen Bradley, if you are using the Mitsubishi, if you are using the Schneider, that you should mention over here in your current company. Because see, it might possible that you were using the Siemens in your previous company, you were using the Siemens in your current company, and still in the current company, there are 2 or 3 products that you are using. You are using the Siemens, Allen Bradley, Schneider. So you should mention over here so that interviewer or your front person can understand, yes, the main knowledge you are having the Siemens, okay, but other third party controllers, you are also doing a good job, right? So this is the way you are explaining yourself, or you are mentioning yourself in a resume within just 2 or 3 pages, right? Because every interviewer just seeing your resume at a very first time for at least 10 to 15 seconds. So within 10 to 15 seconds, you have to catch the attention from the interviewer and get the call from the interview for the interview. Yeah. The second line is execution and commissioning of process-based project in pharma and food industry. In the first line, what I mentioned, which type of technology you are using? Siemens technology. In Siemens technology, what type of products you are using? PCS7, S7, 300, 400, like this way. Yeah? Now, in the second line, it's a normal high level line actually. Execution and commissioning of process based projects in pharma and food industry, right? So in your current company, pharma and food, or whatever is the industry you are serving, that you should mention over it, right? Now some high level objective of your current role, like plant integration, WinCC, OSIs, ESOS configuration, PLC programming, documentation like execution of FAT and SAT, panel testing, or testing, IQ, OQ, and DQ development, right? Documentation, right? In the pharma projects, in the current company, it can be a role of library creation, right? Library creation means in some of the projects, you have to develop the function block that will be dynamically used multiple times in one project. So you have created a library for that function block, and other persons are using that function block as a library. So it can be a role, okay? Library creation and standardization, it can be a role in your current project. So you should mention over here. You should not mention in a short manner actually, right? Whenever there is a requirement to catch the attention, that should be described in a detailed manner. For example, there is more important stuffs you are doing in your current company. For example, you are developing a batch processing project, right? So at least 2 or 3 lines you should describe what is the batch processing and what you are doing in a batch processing, what is the standards you are following in the batch processing. At least 2 or 3 lines. Other small things you can just describe 1 or 2 lines, that's okay, right? See, that's why I have just mentioned over here 4 lines in my current company role, okay? Previous company, you can just omit this part, or you can, if you want to add previous work experience, you should also mention the company name, designation, start here and end here, right? So the company name of your previous company, designation of the previous company, and when you start the job in the previous company and when you end your job in the previous company, that you should mention over here. Detailed description should not be mentioned, because you have already described in your skills and in your projects that you did in the previous company, okay? So that's why. Now, what is the major attainments, right? For example, in one of the projects, you did the commissioning of big project, right? For example, DCS project. So that is your major attainments, okay, in your career. For example, if you have commissioned the 1000 and 2000 IO projects, PLC IO projects, right? That you should mention over, because it's a big projects. 1000 and 2000 IO is a big projects, right? In the industrial automation, that you should mention over here in a major attainments, right? For example, some big DCS projects, because see, this kind of projects will go for at least 5 to 6 months, that you should mention over here, right? Like DCS, PLC, and MES, short describe for big project, only the short description, because it's a major attainments, right? Now some standardization like batch processing. For example, if you are doing the 21 CFR and part 11 in a WinCC SCADA, if you are doing the 21 CFR part 11 in a factory talk with SCADA, right? That you should mention. It is your major attainments in one of the project, right? Now it can be of batch report generation, because for example, if you have used C#, .NET, or if you have used Python, if you have used SQL, right? for report generation, you should mention over here, because that is your major attainments. And by doing this, or by doing that kind of things, like this kind of things like commissioning of big project, standardization things, and report generation, right? By doing these things, you are just grabbing the attention from the other people's. You are doing something extraordinary work in your current company or in a previous company. Now, training and certificates, if you are having, you should not miss out in your resume, right? Whatever is the trainings, if you have get the Siemens SCADA training, Siemens DCS training, Siemens PLC training, and from which organization you have taken, that also should be mentioned. In which year you have completed that certification, you should mention over here, right? So that means training, organization, and its year. Three things should be mentioned very shortly, like Siemens SCADA training from this organization in this year. That's it. Only the single line, right? There is no bullet points, there is no table, nothing. Yes, definitely it will catch the attention from the interviewer. Now, other academic stuffs also, it's optional, I think. When you passed out the BE or ME or MBA, whatever it is, right? In which college, means from which college you are passed out, from which university you are passed out, right? But result you should mention, because when you mention the result, it will just showcase your grasping power, your ability to take the new things, right? For example, if you are getting 9 out of 10, if you are having the 9 out of 10, that means your grasping power is very much high, right? So interviewer can understand, yes, if I put some new things in front of this guy, he will definitely get 12th and 10th exams result. You can also mention over here. This is showing your ability, this is showing your grasping power, right? This is showing your how you take the new things in your career, right? So this should be a proper thing, this should be a proper things to get the attention from the interviewer, because skills and your previous academic should match actually, right? Now, some of the other things, this is just optional things like sports, reading and singing. It can be of your hobbies, and yeah, personal things like languages, date of birth, marital status, permanent address and present address, right? This kind of things you should mention over here. And at last, place, date and sign. It can be of digital sign. Now, from this personal details, how interviewer will get the idea what kind of languages, right? Because see, for example, if you know Hindi, if you know English, if you know some kind of other languages, okay, if you mentioned English over here, so it can be a possible, there may be a chance to get the job from the abroad, okay? For example, if you selected in your one particular company, okay, it can be a chance to get the deputation for some other country for some big project, right? It can be a chance. If you mention over here English, if you mention over here some other languages like German, like French, so your chance to get deputed in the other countries will be very much high, okay? So this is one kind of angle you should think over here to write down your resume. Definitely resume writing, it's not a small thing, right? It can take one day also, it can take 1 month also, it can take 1 year also, it can take 3 to 4 years also, okay? So very precisely, very calmly, you should write your resume. And whatever is the important thing is your technical skills, your IT skills, and your projects and your current role. That definitely should be in your resume. Anything will be missed out in your resume from these four parts, definitely your chances to get selected will be much lesser, right? So that's all about the standard templates. So many templates are available in other websites, right? You can manipulate these things in a proper manner with some other formats, but anything important that should not be missed out from your resume, right? Because any interviewer will not take more than 10 to 15 minutes time, 15 seconds time to just catch the attention, okay? So that's it from my side, this resume session.